Sega needs to do something with Sonic, or else Sonic is going to die. I've heard quotes like this, all over the internet. And I've got some news for you guys. Sonic the Hedgehog is already dead. Hi everybody, my name is In the Game Kaya. Thank you for clicking on this video. And today we're going over a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's actually something I've tried to do a couple of times now and just haven't gotten it out right. I tried writing a script or an outline for this, and it didn't end up working out, so I'm going to try and wing it. Hopefully it's not too bad. But I do need a chance to explain myself. So hold on before you dislike the video or anything like that. First of all, being dead means being devoid of all energy. And when you take a look at what Sonic has done recently, I think it's pretty safe to say that he's been pretty much devoid of energy. Now, he has had kind of an energy, but it's not anything like it used to be. It's all wrong. It's very weird. Something that I noticed happened over the last decade or so. Since Sonic 06 came out, that was the last game that truly took its story seriously and tried to do something big with it. It was the last one. Now, some people would say Unleashed, maybe one of the storybook games, but really, Sonic 06 was the last one to do it wholeheartedly. Sonic Unleashed and the storybook games, I haven't finished any of those games. In fact, I've barely played Unleashed and I haven't touched either one of the storybook games, but I do know the cutscenes. I've watched them several times on YouTube, but that's besides the point. You could start to see the trend towards something that's not so serious. Like in Sonic Unleashed, you had Chip. Now, the majority of the story took itself seriously. Still a big epic adventure to be had. But there's Chip there to create all the lulz for everybody. And that was the first thing. And then it was something else. And then it was something else. And finally Sonic Colors came out and they got new writers and new voice actors. And Sonic Colors wasn't bad. But it wasn't, especially story-wise, it was not good. Gameplay-wise, don't get me wrong, gameplay-wise, Sonic Colors is just fine. It's just fine. But there hasn't been a good Sonic story since Sonic 06. I actually like Sonic 06's story. Yeah, it had plot holes, but at least it tried. Sonic Colors didn't try. They knew that no one would take the story seriously, so they didn't even care about what they did with the story. But because of this, Sonic has kind of gone on a downward spiral of sorts, where when Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, some could argue that Sonic Heroes was kind of in this way like Colors was, but it's not quite to that extent. Seriously, Colors is just a joke fest. Heroes had a story. It wasn't a deep story, it was just simple, but it wasn't a joke fest. It was just enough to carry the gameplay along, which is why I think Generations story doesn't get panned as much as Colors or Lost World story does, because it's just enough story to carry the gameplay along and not actually trying to be a story. That's where Colors and Lost World failed. If you're going to do the joke story, have a couple of jokes and then gameplay. And it has to be good gameplay, because the story and the characters aren't going to carry people through your game. That's why Generations was good. Not the best Sonic game ever, but Generations was good. And Colors wasn't. I mean, Colors was average. And Lost World, I'm not going to lie, when I picked it up, I was expecting to like it. But after playing through the first few levels, it's like I don't know what to think of it right now. I'll have to wait until I finish the game before I give my final thoughts, before I give my thoughts of any kind on Sonic Lost World. Anything now would be entirely too premature. But yeah, Sonic has been spiraling downwards ever since 06 came out, and I think it might be partly because of 06, because of what that game tried to do. It tried to be so big, so grand in scale, but they just couldn't do it. They couldn't pull it off. And it wasn't that they couldn't pull it off, but there were problems inside and the rush development of it. Apparently they released an older version of the game that wasn't completed, so features that they had intended to put in didn't make it in. Something like that. So they had to go back to a more stable, a more stable version. That's what I've heard. I can't verify any of this. I haven't talked to anybody. It's just what I've heard. And it kind of makes sense to me. Sega has said that they're going to stop rushing games out the door to make money, which is a good idea. Sonic games last few years haven't been that good, specifically story-wise. Which I'm glad that they're doing this, but I haven't seen a stop to death. Sonic is still dead. He has no energy, he has no life. Sonic is just a ghost of himself. He's hanging around on the internet to remind us of what Sonic was, and every once in a while a game comes out that reminds us of what Sonic was, but not what Sonic should be, can be, will continue to be, will eventually be. None of that. It's just what Sonic was. Ever since Sonic Generations came out, that's all it's been. Well, and there's been Sonic Boom, but that's completely different. But Sonic he's just dead. His life energy, his life force, it's gone. It's spread on the internet, and it's just become a joke of itself, what it should be. I don't think anybody knows what Sonic really is supposed to be. There are a lot of people who will tell you what they think he should be, and everybody has their own opinion. Personally, I grew up as an adventure fan. That's still my favorite part of the franchise. The classics were good. Some moderns are hit and miss. The two adventure games, Heroes was solid. I liked Shadow the Hedgehog. Unlike a lot of people, I did like that game. Sonic 06 wasn't that bad. I definitely wouldn't call it one of the worst games ever. I mean, was it good? No, but see, I'm an adventure fan. So what I feel Sonic should be is a story that's serious, but doesn't try to be super realistic. Like Sonic Adventure 2, there's a giant floating colony in space with a laser capable of blowing up the moon. And they blow up the moon, and that has no negative impact on the planet. Yeah, it's a story that has serious notes, dark notes, but doesn't take itself too seriously. That's exactly what I think Sonic should be. But then there are other people who think that Sonic should be what he's been the last couple of years. Just making jokes. And I'm not saying that's wrong. You can make that work. I'm trying to think of a game series that makes that whole joke thing work. Ratchet and Clank. This is a good one. Ratchet and Clank makes that whole humor thing work, but they have a serious story, characters that you enjoy seeing on the screen and enjoy controlling, and the jokes are built around those characters. They're not forced, and it's not 100% jokes. It's enough to give you several good chuckles, but it's not just a botched stand-up comedy routine, which is what Sonic Boom is to me. And I'm not talking about the games. I'm talking about the TV show. I tried to watch Sonic Boom because I knew I wasn't going to get to play it, because I don't own a Wii U, because I can't afford every game system. So I made my choice and I'm sticking with it. So I tried to watch Sonic Boom. How else am I going to experience it? I made it through the first 10 minutes of the game and couldn't watch it. I was bored. I was doing anything else but watching that video. I just couldn't, and I never went back to it. I watched the end. the last part of it, you know, the very end of the game, to see if it got better, no, not really. I'm talking about Rise of Lyric here. I haven't even checked out Shattered Crystal. I don't know. But I think it goes without saying that Sonic has severely deviated from what he used to be. What he used to be worked. There were rough times, but it worked. Comedy Sonic can work, but they need to fix it. So at this point, Sega is left at an impasse. Do you follow what Sonic has been and try and get him to work, fix it, solid characters, a story that's good enough to carry you along, characters that you like, that you want to see, and jokes built around that, like in Ratchet & Clank? Or are you going back to Sonic Adventure style? I don't know. I can't make that decision. I don't work at Sega. I make videos on YouTube, and I'm a janitor, so I have no professional opinion on this whatsoever. It's a hobby. It's just a hobby, so. But yeah, I mean, Sonic is dead. So you have to do something to bring him back to life. Yes, Sega is still making games, so Sonic isn't dead in that respect, that they're no longer making anything or doing anything with the franchise. Sega has to either fix Sonic or fix Sonic the way he is now, or go back to the way he was. And it all centers around one thing. There's one thing you can do, one thing that works for either way. Are you trying to fix Sonic now? Go back? Doesn't matter. Stop the memes. Sonic has become nothing but a joke to himself. And as fans, we're expected to laugh at it. The occasional inside joke is fine. Or self-deprecating humor, I believe is what it's called. Making fun of oneself. Or a group that you are part of. So it's self-inclusive humor. So making fun of Sonic or Sonic fans is self-deprecating humor, and that's fine. It can be funny. But it's just become a joke, a parody. Sonic is that's it. Sonic is a parody of what he used to be. It's like Sonic stories now are taking Roger's Sonic in Minutes and making that the official Sonic story, but sad to say, not as funny. Thumbs up to you, Roger. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I don't think they're even trying. But they have to fix it. They have to do something. So, from now on, let's just all try to adopt the mentality of stop the meme. Stop spreading the memes. Stop making the memes. Eventually they'll die. It has to happen. If it doesn't, no one's going to take Sonic seriously. Right now, Sega is not taking Sonic seriously. So, that is the first thing that should change. But if they're not going to change themselves, someone's going to have to change for them, or Sonic is dead. For good. I don't mean dead in spirit. I don't mean devoid of energy, like he has been. No, I mean nothing. Like Mega Man, dead. Like release a collection every 5 years, dead. And with that having been said, let's all stop the memes. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.